I'm Marilee Caruso. It's Wednesday, June 18th. Today, the Brandon sword attack victim speaks out.
And then before I can even think, he lunges at me like...
How he managed to defend himself during a brutal attack in school. Also today, a helping hand. How Manitoba is offering to assist with reconstruction efforts in Ukraine. And...
1, 2, 3.
Winnipeg's newest fire hall is officially operational, which communities it will service, and what sets it apart from all the others. Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us. Terrifying new details tonight about a sword attack inside a Brandon high school. The teenage victim, who's now at home recovering, sat down with CTV News to share his story and a warning. Some of the details you're about to hear are disturbing. CTV's Taylor Brock is standing by in studio with more on this harrowing story. Taylor, how is the team doing tonight?
Well, Marilee, 16-year-old Chino Su Onuke received wounds to his shoulder, chest, abdomen, thigh, forearm, and several of his fingers were deeply cut. Now, despite those grievous injuries, he's taking the ordeal in stride.
I don't really think it was that traumatic, to be honest, because I still act the same at the end of the day. I mean, there's a thing people say that, like, you don't know when you're traumatized, so I could be, I don't know. But in the moment, I was not thinking at all.
The moment Onuke is referring to is when he was attacked by a sword-wielding assailant during lunch break at Neelan High School. He says he didn't think much of it when he first encountered a person wearing a black trench coat and witch doctor mask in the hallway. But before he could react, the person pulled out a sword and stabbed him, causing him to fall to the floor where the attack continued. Sensing that the assailant was about to stab a vital organ, Onuke says he grabbed hold of the blade and he struggled for a moment before he jumped up and ran for help.
When you think about actions, you tend to hesitate, or they just happen slower. So, like, if I had stood there when he stabbed me the first time, and I was thinking, yo, how am I gonna do this or that? That gives him more time to stab me again. So it's like, there's that.
A police officer responded soon after and tasered the suspect. A fellow student is facing charges of attempted murder, uttering threats, possession of a weapon, and disguise with intent.
Taylor, have we heard anything about a possible motive?
No, we haven't, Marilee. Police haven't said, and Onuke himself says he doesn't know why he was targeted. CTV's Danton Unger is working on this story today. Coming up at 6 o'clock, we will hear more from Onuke about the attack and his recovery, plus why the local police chief says the situation could have been worse.
All right, thanks for this, Taylor. More signs today. The wildfire danger in Manitoba is easing. The government says it will soon lower fire and travel restrictions in many areas of the province. Right now, the entire burn permit area is under the tightest restriction at level 3. But as of tomorrow morning at 8 a.m., the majority will be shifted down to level 2. The change means campfires are permitted between 8 p.m. and 8 a.m. However, a travel permit will still be required for remote areas within fire boundaries. Other restrictions, such as a ban on motorized backcountry travel and camping outside of developed campgrounds, remains in place, and fire and travel restrictions have been lifted completely for areas 6, 7, and several provincial parks, such as Assisipi, Birds Hill, St. Malo, and Stephenfield. You can find more details on our website. Just go to ctvnewswinnipeg.ca. A Manitoba First Nation is asking members not to return after a mandatory evacuation order was lifted due to issues with the water supply. Tatasquiac Cree Nation was evacuated late last month as an out-of-control wildfire burned only a kilometer away, causing the community, also known as Split Lake, to lose power. The evacuation order was initially lifted Monday. However, Chief and Council posted on Facebook, water quality tests showed levels higher of aluminum because the water treatment plant was no longer functioning. The First Nation is now in talks with Indigenous Services Canada and Health Canada to clean the pipes and the reservoir. Water samples will then need to be taken and analyzed before residents can return. A group of Clear Lake residents is taking legal action against Parks Canada's watercraft ban. Parks Canada has banned motorized boats on the lake since May 16th to fight the spread of zebra mussels. The invasive species was found in the lake in 2023. A citizen group called Fairness for Clear Lake wants to reverse the decision and has filed for a judicial review. The group says Parks Canada's ban was made without meaningful consultation and clear evidence or regard for the economic impact a ban would have. It's asking a judge to stop the enforcement of the ban and make public the evidence Parks Canada used to justify the boat ban. On its website, Parks Canada says it's now researching how motorized watercraft affect ecological, socio-economic, and cultural components of Clear Lake. Well, as the city looks to speed up home building, one city councillor wants more done to cut down on construction waste. Daniel McIntyre councillor Cindy Gilroy put forward a motion directing the public service to review best practices in other cities. This could include mandatory recycling or reuse, penalties or incentives for compliance, or diversion targets. Councillors will vote on the motion Tuesday. The provincial government has signed an agreement to support an area of Ukraine in its reconstruction efforts. Premier Kanu virtually signed a memorandum of understanding with the governor of Ukraine's Kherson region, which is partly occupied by Russian forces. Kanu said the West has a responsibility to stand up for Ukraine and noted a Manitoban, Austin Laughlin-Bercier, died fighting alongside Ukrainian soldiers. The agreement calls for collaboration in areas such as agriculture, economic development, and healthcare. Kanu says he would like to start sending aid immediately, which could include resources or expertise from Manitoba Hydro. A new fire hall is now open for service in Windsor Park. Station 9 on Autumnwood Drive was officially commissioned earlier today. It consolidates Station 15 at the same address and Station 9 on Marion Street. Officials say this will improve response efficiency. The new station has 5 bays and houses a fire engine, ambulance, rescue unit, hazardous materials team, associated crews, and the fire investigator. It also includes an air refill station and a training room.
With more crews stationed here, it creates great opportunities for ongoing training and teamwork.
The design also includes a first for a city building, geothermal heat pumps for heating and cooling. The service expects a 98% reduction in emissions with the building's green considerations. The final cost of the station was $16 million. Let's bring in Colleen Brady now and get a first look at your Skywatch evening forecast. I've been seeing on my gardening groups on social media that everyone's panicking on what to do because there's a thunderstorm and potentially hail that could pose some problems for crops or plants out there.
Well, there's certainly the potential for it here in the southeast. We're already seeing severe thunderstorms pop up in the southwest. You can see all these thunderstorms. Not all of them are severe right now, but there is one right around the Glenbrough area that Environment Canada says is severe. Now, all of southwestern Manitoba lighting up in yellow under a severe thunderstorm watch. That does mean that those thunderstorms that you're seeing could become severe right in the smack middle there. That's the Glenbrough area. That's where that storm is severe. It's producing up to Toonie-sized hail, so significant, some very strong winds and some pretty heavy rain right now. And then to the east as well, closer to Dryden in northwestern Ontario. Oh, well, that's just ended. That's just changed. Live TV for you folks. The thunderstorms moving through there are now downgraded to non-severe. That could change. I'll have more on that coming up, and a look, of course, at the wildfire situation and the rest of your full forecast. Let's take a look right now through the Bathfitter Live Eye. Bathfitter, your bath and shower experts for more than 40 years. Cloudy in Winnipeg, 26 north winds, pressure's rising, humidity is 46%. Out in traffic, a live look onto not Portage Avenue. That's Osborne Street. That's Osborne Village. Traffic is just sitting at the light.
More people continue to call Manitoba home, and for the first time in decades, that includes more of our fellow Canadians. We will explain just ahead.
Get Winnipeg's top stories, breaking news alerts, and watch live. Download the CTV News app.
Hello there. Toronto's benchmark stock index edged higher today, leaving it only slightly down from that record high close posted on Tuesday of last week. Canadian stocks are up almost 7.5% this year, outpacing a gain of less than 2% for the US market. One winner in Toronto today was the natural gas processor Keyera. Its stock jumped almost 6% as investors welcomed the company's plan to buy the Canadian natural gas liquids business of Texas-based Plains All American, plus some US assets, for just over $5 billion. BMO upgraded Keyera shares to buy, calling the purchase a, quote, scale-changing deal. The Canadian dollar traded at 73.01 US cents, down almost 1/4 cent. West Texas Intermediate oil was at $73.50 US a barrel, up 23 cents. Our latest fix on Western Canadian Select oil has it at $61.25, up 59 cents. And the TSX ended at 26,559.85, up just over 18 points. Those are your business headlines. I'm Andrew Bell of B&M Bloomberg.
The ongoing U.S.-Canada trade dispute has small business owners concerned for their summer season.
For many small businesses, the summer months are their busiest time of year.
A Canadian Federation of Independent Business poll finds businesses are split on whether summer revenue will remain the same or go higher or lower. But 37% of those surveyed say they've noticed changes in tourist behavior.
With the ongoing trade dispute, we know for a fact businesses are telling us they've already seen a shift in bookings. They've seen an uptick in bookings from Canadians, but unfortunately, they've seen a drop off in bookings from people from the U.S.
The CFIB says that, compounded with the wildfire situation, inflation, and low consumer demand, is adding to their stress. To help the tourism industry, it's urging the governments to reduce permit and licensing requirements, promote buying local, and vacationing in Canada. CFIB says 66 cents of every dollar spent locally stays here versus 11 cents at multinational companies. A 36-year-old man is dead following a head-on crash north of Winnipeg. It happened yesterday on Highway 8 near Bay Road. Selkirk RCMP say a sedan heading north veered into the southbound lane. It collided head-on with a large truck heading south. Emergency responders pronounced the driver of the sedan dead at the scene. The driver of the truck was brought to hospital where he was treated for non-life-threatening injuries. RCMP collision analysis are now investigating. Manitoba's population continues to climb, and for the first time in more than 20 years, Statistics Canada says our province saw its first net gain from interprovincial migration. 106 more Canadians now call Manitoba home. StatsCan says it's the first time this has happened since 2004. Overall, Manitoba's population continues to climb, growing by more than 21,000 since this time last year to around 1,507,000. The quest for Lord Stanley's mug came up short for the Edmonton Oilers. The team lost the final series in 6 games against the Florida Panthers last night.
And now they're knocking on Dynasty's doorstep. The Florida Panthers back-to-back Stanley Cup champions.
Yeah, it's not the ending the Edmonton Oilers were hoping for, falling 5-1 against the now back-to-back champion Florida Panthers. Panthers' Sam Bennett was awarded the Conn Smythe as the playoffs' most valuable player. He led the playoffs with 15 goals, including an NHL record 13 on the road. It is the second Stanley Cup in a row for Panthers head coach Paul Maurice, who, as you know, coached the Winnipeg Jets from 2014 to 2021. Some iconic new wave groups from the 80s are hitting the road, and it could be one of your last chances to whip it. Those details ahead in Spotlight.
Tonight on CTV National News, W5 investigates following the trail of a stolen car.
Hey, listen, man, I don't have time for this.
A trail that leads to an Ontario government agency.
How widespread is something like that across the country?
I would say that it's all across the country.
W5 investigates tonight on CTV National News and ctvnews.ca.
Spotlight, sponsored by the Casinos of Winnipeg, presenting Tom Papa.
Colleen Brady is back now for Spotlight, and the sweet sound of jazz is ringing through the Exchange District.
That's right. Music lovers are tuning into the 36th annual TD Winnipeg International Jazz Fest. The 6 days of tunes kicked off Tuesday evening at Old Market Square. More than 55 local, Canadian, and international performers will be taking the stage at the Cube and venues right around the city. Jazz Winnipeg is expecting tens of thousands of attendees this year.
So we have a shorter program this year, which means that we have more condensed and very interesting and talented musicians coming over. So we have our European series, and then we also have Richard Bona, who is, for many, many people, one of the best bassists in the world. So it's exciting to have this kind of caliber of talent come in and also have some of our local musicians.
Jazz Fest runs now through Sunday. You can buy tickets online at jazzwinnipeg.com.
You know, sometimes farewell isn't really farewell.
No, a pair of 80s new wave bands are hitting the road once again. You got that right. Devo and the B-52s have announced a limited run fall tour.
The B-52s? I only thought it was Devo. Oh, this is getting better.
Oh, I know. It's awesome. Yeah, soak this all in, Marilee. Now, they're going to be touring across 11 cities. The Cosmic De-Evolution Tour will be making one Canadian stop. That is in Toronto on September 24th. Now, this comes as both bands have already performed their own farewell tours. Devo's runs to November, and the B-52s wrap theirs about 3 years ago. Now, general sale tickets are available Friday.
We need a Winnipeg date.
We sure do.
All right. Chef and Food Network star Anne Burrell has died. I've seen a lot of people surprised by this online.
Yeah, Burrell worked in kitchens around the world before landing at the Food Network. She starred in shows like Worst Cooks in America, Chef Wanted, and Best Thing I Ever Ate. Burrell died yesterday morning at home in New York. Her family released a statement saying, quote, "Though she is no longer with us, her warmth, spirit, and boundless love remain eternal." Anne Burrell was just 55 years old.
All right, now to the Pope, who held a private audience with an acting icon at the Vatican.
Now, Marilee, see if you can spot this legendary actor in the photo.
All right, I'm looking.
Take a look. That's right. That is Al Pacino.
Al Pacino, yeah.
That's right. He met with the Chicago-born pontiff. On the left is Andrea Iravolino, the producer of the upcoming film Maserati, The Brothers. Pacino will be appearing in the film about the founding of the luxury car maker.
Wow, looking forward to that.
No kidding.
All right, thanks, Colleen.
You bet. Trying to say that. Beat those midweek blues with MasterChef at 7, followed by Gordon Ramsay's Secret Service, and don't miss Battle of the Generations at 9. That's all right here, of course, on CTV. A live look out onto the St. James Bridge. Quite busy for folks heading southbound. Much lighter traffic for the northbound span of the bridge. 26 degrees in Winnipeg right now. I will have the latest on where those severe thunderstorms are firing off right now in southwestern Manitoba.
Women's clothing provided by RW & Company. Salon services provided by S&T Spa Salon.
CTV Skywatch weather brought to you by South Beach Casino and Resort. Visit southbeachcasino.ca.
Severe thunderstorms starting to add up in southwestern Manitoba. We have several that are still non-severe. The southwest under a severe thunderstorm watch, but just in the last couple of minutes, a severe thunderstorm over here to the north of Brandon has popped up, and we still have this severe thunderstorm in the Glenboro area, and it looks like that area has expanded where the severe storms are coming through. Here's a look at them on the satellite radar. You can see there's hail, all that lightning firing off and all that rain coming down. There's that second severe thunderstorm there in the top right of your screen. So if you're in those areas, just be very careful of those conditions out there. Again, up to Toonie-sized hail is being produced in these storms by the look of it. Further north, drier up around where the wildfires are burning tonight there. Into northwestern Ontario, that's where Environment Canada has special air quality statements in effect. We have no weather alerts back on our side of the border here. That doesn't mean, though, you won't experience localized smoke. But ahead tonight, it's it's really the southern half of the province where the active weather is happening. Again, we've been going back and forth all throughout the week, and tonight it's southern Manitoba's turn. We may well see thunderstorms develop yet in Winnipeg and the Red River Valley, and even later tonight too, we could see some of that continue. It pushes off into northwestern Ontario too into Thursday morning. Meanwhile, clear for the most part in terms of sky conditions in the north, but of course mitigated to a certain extent with the smoke. We have another round of rain that could come through late tomorrow night. Overnight into Friday we go. Again, we sort of have a little bit of instability in the south on Friday, more stable conditions for the north. For tonight for Winnipeg, again, there is a pretty good chance, it's not a sure shot, but a good chance we could see showers or thunderstorms come through this evening or maybe even later tonight. We drop down to 13, light winds out of the north, up to 26 tomorrow, mix of sun and cloud with continued light winds coming from the north. Thursday already tomorrow, and the UV index for the city is 7 or high. 27 degrees, very warm on Friday under a mix of sun and cloud. Mostly cloudy Saturday. Now we could see some rain start to come through Saturday night, turning to showers likely on Sunday, just 18 degrees, 18 and cloudy Monday, up to 22. On Tuesday, under a mix of sun and cloud. To our weather photos we go. A lovely look out onto the Saugeen First Nation. That photo is from Brittany. Very picturesque, beautiful. And yes, very artistic is this photo taken by Cheryl out at Grindstone Provincial Park. Send us Hecla Grindstone Provincial Park, I believe. Send us your weather photos to Winnipeg Weather at ctv.ca.
Thanks, Colleen. Well, for 30 years, Goldie's Fries has been a popular lunchtime destination in the Exchange District, but perhaps not for too much longer.
Area, my friend. Cheers, brother. Cheers, brother.
The owner of Goldie's Fries has decided to hang up his fry basket after selling mountains of fries and uncountable numbers of hot dogs and Smokies. Daryl Lehman has decided to sell his food truck. At 69, he says he's ready to step away and enjoy life, although Lehman says being the Goldie's Fry guy has been very enjoyable over the decades, and walking away won't be easy.
It's going to be very hard. I'm going to wake up the next day and go, what am I going to do? I can't go downtown and visit my people. But I will support the new owner and look after them, and I will be there to help them. I'm not going to disappear. Not going anywhere. I just want to relax.
Lehman doesn't know when his last day as owner will be, but he says he's had a few people inquire about the food truck. Until he sells it, though, you will be able to find him in Market Square selling his fries.
Daryl has been on that spot for a long time.
An end of an era.
Yeah, it sure is.
Get your last fries from Daryl while you can.
No kidding.
All right, that does it for us this hour. Don't go far. We will be back at 6 o'clock with much more local news. Hope to see you then.